Cranford is what all dramas should be like. The attention to detail with makeup, with costume, with props, with the art design is just perfect.
Everything weaves together to make it very dense and rich. And that's where I think all the layers of the detail just pay off.
As an actor, you're so well supported. Everything we wear, the way we look, is done so well that we have to live up to that.
They do pull rabbits out there every day. It's amazing.
Never any hole, is there?
No.
Everything is very true to the book, too, and true to the script.
This should be the norm. Actually, it's the exception. The tone of the drama is set by the script, and the script is so right and so accurate that you don't have to do any work on it. You just have to get the script right.
Heidi Thomas has done such a wonderful, wonderful job, and I think it's one of the best combinations of writer-adapter. She suits the material, and the material suits her so brilliantly.
The writing is perfect.
We're totally dependent on modern technology, the laptops, the Blackberries, and then all the time we come back to the inspiration. This book, this book's brilliant. 1853, it's literally falling apart. The back cover's mouldering. Oh look, a few words on the sin of lying by a layman, threepence. And that's where the language and the grammar of Cranford comes from. It's not just from Gaskell. What you have to do is build the whole register of language and the amusements and gather together the obsessions of the ladies by reading the sort of magazines and books that they would have read. This, I think, is pretty much aimed at a sort of family or female audience. The assumption is that you know nothing, and therefore any random collection of facts will be illuminating to you. Look, the connecting ligament of clams.
We did our read-through this morning. I don't know. That was sort of three hours just going through the scripts. So now we've got just little final tweaks, just little things we're trying to do, just things we've sometimes we had a few scenes where we thought, does this play or does that not play? So it's just our last chance really to go through and
is
get
that
all
coffee?
the final bits.
Hang on, can you get this up? This is rare. This is
coffee.
How does a script get written? This is how it gets written.
We had hoped the seaside air might restore my wife to health, but it could not do so.
There's a character whose wife went to Broadstairs, a seaside resort, in lieu of medicine or chemotherapy or whatever you would have for a serious illness. Now you'd go to the seaside, where obviously she died after 2 years of not really getting any better. We just refer to it as Broadstairs. And Jonathan Price, the actor, said to me, I'm not clear what Broadstairs is, so I'm going to sit and just rework that speech. So a little short speech lets you know that Broadstairs was where his wife went to be very ill and in fact to die, and just sort of make it clear that it was a health spa.
Back to rewrites now, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and I'm going to write a kiss this afternoon. There's never been a kiss in Cranford.
You are going to add a kiss.
I am.
It's back to a kiss.
Yeah.
And has her ladyship been recently at court?
Oh, bless you, Miss Bull. I never went there in my life. I was one of 5 daughters, and my father lacked the means.
You just hinted at the R in daughters, which I think it was there.
Yeah.
You know.
Change seats with me, Miss Mattie, and let us all draw in our chairs and make acquaintance with each other and the fire. Accents are sort of almost a spirit within you, aren't they, rather than actual practical words, and that's what we're trying to work out for this, so that you don't get sort of hidebound and see a word coming up and think, oh God, which way do I jump, sort of thing. Did I see Mulner take off with the blackberry wine? It was a gift from Mrs. Forrester.
Mullen must fetch it in, and my plum cake too. That he took into his pantry.
Nobody's accent is set in stone, and sometimes you've got to be careful that you don't go for, absolute consistency in every sound, because people don't speak like that, and then it becomes unreal.
Especially if they've had some blueberry wine.
Well, exactly. Yes.
Until today, I've been very dull. I did hope for society with the ladies of the town, for I'd had a cloistered time if it whilst my husband ailed. No one has called.
I remember the first time, last time I saw my shop. Every single prop had been lovingly hand-picked, and these tiny, thin walls, it was exquisite. And you went to touch the walls thinking they were plaster and a bit of new old paint, but of course they're not, the plywood, but the paint finishes, the way things are slightly worn, so you've got, years of people turning the door handle. It's tiny little things like that, but the cumulative effect is extraordinary.
Hello, I'm Tricia Edwards. I'm the set decorator, and basically I find all the props and dress the set and set up the whole ambience and feeling of the characters in this particular set, which is Mrs. Bell's cottage. And Gina's my right hand, who's a prop buyer and does all the sort of paperwork and the money and all those kind of things.
Yes,
and Charmian's very important, being the supervising art director.
I come in usually about the same time as Tricia starts work, and we start really sourcing all the props that we need to dress the sets with, and also action props the actors have to handle.
In this set, Mrs. Bell's preparing preserves, so we found these jars, which we got at a hire company. We've had to soak off the labels so that they look sort of as though they're pristine, and cut out these calico tops to tie on so that she's doing it in action, so that's why we've got quite a lot of them here.
The three of us went in the pouring rain, Kempton Park Market, 6:30 in the morning, and bought those doors, thinking they might be usable, which they are. They're actually making a key
action
area.
He hides in the cupboard, so we had to make a cupboard under the stairs, and we've used
so
the doors to make the cupboard.
Those were the cupboard doors.
We made this plate rack, which actually has these upholstery period studs in there, which is nice, a bit of detail as well.
The attention to detail is phenomenal, and there was an adorable pram that I have to push Tilly about in. It's absolutely beautiful. So nothing is left to our imagination. It's all perfectly done for us.
This is the bird cage for Miss Pole, who thinks it's for keeping a bird in, and actually it's a piece of underwear. So it had to be made by a prop maker.
Once he's accustomed to the novelty, he will hop up and down this succession of hoops and make a very fetching sight.
This is a sprung steel wrapped in some sort of cloth. It has to be completely made from scratch. You know, people don't wear them anymore. We had to make it longer because the parrot's tail was about that large and would have got squashed if we'd made it to the size of a reel.
We also had to make these close together because, again, the parrot would escape between the hoops.
In fact,
so it wasn't parrot-proof. We had to make one that's parrot-proof.
These are the bits from India that Peter brings back, and they're about to go into the Jenkins house when he comes back with his cart loaded with Indian stuff. The pepper pot was one of the Indian things that came in the cart, and it's so huge that we didn't know what to do with it, but Sue thought it'd be quite amusing to have it in the garden and they could sort of hide behind it, so it is massive, as you see.
There's some bread just taken out of the oven at one point. I mean, it was absolutely wonderful, this bread. Beautiful brown bread. And in actual fact, I have a line, and because of the bread, I actually smelt it. So it brings out in you very natural reactions to things.
Every single action prop is made, and they've all said that that's a very important part of making it work.
Auriez-vous assez gentil pour envoyer une cage?
P goes up and then it looks like that.
Mm-hmm. I've been copying how my character would have written in Cranford. It's a letter to order La Cage, which Erminia writes with Miss Pole. So that's the example, and that's what I came up with.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, that's wonderful. That's very close, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been making handwritten letters as props for use in the production. I will handwrite with ink and a period-style metal dip pen. Each one will be handwritten in a different style that's suitable for the character. It might not seem very important, but in a production with such high production values, if one little thing suddenly looks modern or jars or looks out of keeping with that character, it just upsets that perfect, delicate balance.